What's going on, you guys? Foster, and I'm back with another video. Today's video will be in Jarvan guide. He is the last guide out of my top 6 champions that I need to do, so that will be this guide, and this is also the last guide for the season. I will be making new type of guide builds, all that kind of stuff with the new season, new runes, actually no masteries, just keystones or something like that. The new system at least, I'll be making new guides then as well. But yeah, this is the last guide this season. Let's get right into it. This is the rune page I use on Jarvan. There's 2 different ways to build Jarvan, but the rune page will always remain the same. So this is the rune page I use. I go for flat attack damage in both the reds and the quints. Then I go for some flat armor early on to give me some extra damage reduction against jungle camps. You don't need too much. And then the rest is just scaling health, because having a bigger health pool, especially when you're building tank items, actually helps you a lot. If your tank items are more resistant type tank items, then having a little bit more health is just more effective that way. And then I just finish it off by getting like 10% CDR, 5% flat, 5% scaling. It will pretty much mean that I can cap out my CDR no matter what build I go for. All I have to build is like a black cleaver, and then like any tank item will give me like 10% pretty much. And if I go for a warrior, that will also give me 10%, so 30 that way. I don't even have to build tank items that give me CDR. Having max CDR on Jarvan is actually really useful, because you're able to use your flag toss multiple times on the same flag, for example, so it could really make a difference in team fights. You can also have situations where your flag is up like 2 hours up at the same time later in the game, so you can really make some plays work in team fights later on. So that CDR is pretty important. Also, having your ultimate up more often is definitely useful in certain fights and to help one-shot people, because your ult does do a lot of damage. Like with a little bit of AD, you can easily do like 500-600 damage with your ultimate AoE, so that's really, really good. Now that's the rune page. Then over to the mastery page. This is the mastery page I usually prefer to use on Jarvan. There's another one which I'll show in a second, but yeah, I'll just go for some ability damage. You have to remember that your EQ does a lot of damage, and then your ultimate does a massive amount of AoE damage. So having this just increases that a tiny bit. Then I take fresh blood to just deal more damage additionally in the first hit. So you EQ someone, and then the first hit you do will deal more damage. I mean, it also does it already deals a lot of damage, but then you will deal even more damage. Now here just more base damage and then more base damage. Now, then Savagery increases jungle clear a little bit, you auto attack a lot, so single target, definitely helpful against like red buff and blue buff and Gromp early on. And after that, I mean, you're gonna use your Q a lot and your E a lot to just one-shot camps really quickly, so you don't really need it then, but this helps you early to make sure that you get it done. Now, I want to have my red and blue for longer, really, so I go for Runic Affinity. Having that red for longer on Jarvan is very, very good, because you can then just, if you do a gank and you hold on to your flag toss combo, then you can just walk up to them and start slowing them with red buff and then flag toss, or flag toss after they flash or something like that. That's definitely a key thing you gotta remember on Jarvan. You don't always instantly have to flag toss. If you keep it and then have your red buff for longer, you can just walk up, auto attack him, and then flag toss later after like a flash or something. Because if they have a flash, it's really impossible to land it, because they can always flash it, because like there's nothing you can do. The only thing you could do if they flash your flag toss combo is flash right after it and then hit him still. But then you would need some prediction skills for that, so usually it's better to just try to hit them without their flash. So hold on to it for a little bit. But it's all situational, man, you know. Then I want Merciless, more damage, and then I take Greenfather's Gift for a bit more clear speed and also more damage. You can come out of the jungle, flag toss someone, deal even more damage on the first initial hit. And if you combine it with the Thunderlords that you're going to get as well, you're just going to be able to chunk people for like half their health with like the first hit you connect. So that's pretty big. And then here I just want some extra lethality. Magic Penetration, I mean, not really that useful, but lethality definitely that useful. Now that's one of the Jarvan Mastery pages you can go for. The other setup is if you're going for a Stoneborn Pact Jarvan. Because if you're able to like go for this and then make sure that you go in, engage for your team, and then your team is going to be able to like sustain off it and then make a lot more plays happen. So if you're going for like a Cinderhawk full tank support type Jarvan, that's definitely a viable build, but you would have to trust your team to actually carry you pretty well. And that's why I would only recommend doing this more towards the higher stage, like the higher elos, instead of like the lower elos. The lower elos going for like a Thunderlords with a warrior early is definitely probably the build to go for, because it is more reliable, you're able to deal a little bit more damage, and you're able to carry yourself a little bit further. But as soon as you get to like Master, Challenger, Diamond 1, Diamond 2-ish, that range, from Diamond 2 and up pretty much, you can go for Stoneborn Pact pretty safely and then just make it work that way. So I'll give you guys the page for that. Now, I usually prefer to go for Insight on Jarvan, because there are certain plays that you can make. You can go for a flag toss combo, And then as soon as you are in that animation, you can flash further if you time it correctly, and then your flag toss combo will continue in range, and you can catch people off guard with that. So having that flash up is definitely helpful. Also, if you flag toss to gain some range and then flash ult to gain more range, you can catch people off guard pretty easily. So that's why I really prefer to go for Insight on that. Now here's Swiftness for that resistance, and then Stoneborn Pact, obviously, as I just mentioned. And at this point, I mean, you can go either tree really, but I prefer this one to have my red and blue for longer. And then just this, and then the Green Father's Gift will also give me a little bit more damage potential on my jungle camps early, as well as just gank potential, like on ganks itself, on the champions. So this is pretty much the other Jarvan setup you could go for. This is more the tank supporty type Jarvan. The type of Jarvan that builds Knight's Vow, Locket, all that kind of stuff that really goes to support his team a little bit more and goes like Cinderhawk and all that. This is the type of mastery page you want to go with that. So if that's the Jarvan you want to prefer playing, then by all means, go for this page, you know? All I gotta say is that I would recommend, if the lower elos, probably just go for the fucking Thunderlords, because, you know, it's just overall more useful to carry there. Now, here, we go for the Hunter's Machete start with a refillable potion. It's pretty much the best start you can go for on Jarvan. This is useless. You deal a lot of, like, you do a lot of auto attacks in your early camp, so definitely just Machete. This is just your start. Not much to say about that. Now, here, your core build will become, I mean, either the Warrior or the Cinderhawk enchant, depending on what you want. I usually go for the Red Smite, because Red Smite's busted. It gives you a Exhaust and an Ignite in one skill. Another one you can go for is Blue Smite. You can go all of them on Jarvan, really. Blue Smite will make it easier to land your EQ combo if you have trouble with it, but usually that shouldn't be a problem. If you hang on to it for long enough, you should be able to hit most of them by timing them correctly. Now the other, like, I usually just go for Red Smite because it gives me a lot of 1v1 potential. Especially if you're going for the supporty build, then it gives you actually some damage potential whilst you're building like full tank. But if you're going supporty, I would honestly just go for the Tracker's Knife, because at that point you're going full support and you might as well just be the tank, have the vision control, have the support for your teammates, so at that point, you know. But there's a lot of options with Jarvan. Most likely I just go for Red Smite and then the Warrior Chant, lower elos, Cinderhawk up higher, but you can also go Cinderhawk lower if you want to, it doesn't really matter. Let's just say that this is Warrior or Cinderhawk, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. Now after that, just general boots, you know. Any boots from Ninja Tabis to Mercury Threads usually works pretty well, depending on the enemy team's damage. Just counter out the boots with that way. And then the one damage item you always want to get on Jarvan, pretty much regardless, unless you're going for the support build with Stoneborn Pact, but if you're going Thunderlords build with like a bit more damage, then the Black Cleaver is a really good damage item on Jarvan. It gives you 20% CDR, which is very, very, very good for you. You have your ult up faster, you can do multiple flag toss combos with that, and that's really key. So even if this was like a Cinderhawk, you would still have like 30% CDR already with your runes. And with the Cinderhawk, with the Warrior, you'll have 40% with just this build alone. Or, well, 35 and then scaling up to 40, of course, but yeah, you know. So this is definitely your core build pretty much every game for like the damage type of build. Obviously, if you're going to support build, you have another core build, because then it becomes the then it becomes this. It becomes something like this with another pair of these boots, whatever, Mercs or that, and then you can go for like a Knight's Vow or a Locket or like any type of item in that slot. This is a very cheap build as well, so it makes it like you're going to be able to get these items pretty quickly. They're only 2200. You do have to coordinate with your support a little bit in some situations. If they were building a Knight's Vow and there's really only one target to Knight's Vow in your team, then this is not that worth it of an item, but there's a lot of variable options here. So something like these two items with like a Locket or Knight's Vow is going to be your core build on the supporting type Jarvan. Now there's a bunch of items after this that can just help you survive. Like usually after either this setup or this setup, you just want to build straight tank items. Or like, yeah, it's just straight tank items to be more tanky for your team. And tank items just really depend on the enemy team. So you have like a adaptive helmet, or I mean, I can literally just go right here. Go to like defensive, go like health or something, you know. Look at some items here. Steric's Gauge could be good. Like certain situations, if they have a lot of burst champions to have that, you can go for this. If they have a lot of crit damage champions, you can go for Thornmill if they're like full AD comp, and you can go for like this is like a 4th item or some shit like that. There's a lot of stuff you can do. That Spirit Visions could, like, there's so many options. You can even go for like a Righteous Glory for a better engage potential. You can then pop this, run at them, ult them, and then if they flash out, you EQ after them or something like that. There's so many options. It really just depends on the enemy team. Abyssal Mask can be a good good item as well. If you if the enemy team just, sorry, if your team has a lot of magic damage, I just blanked out for a second, I don't know why. If your team has a lot of magic damage, you can go for Abyssal Mask and then give your team that extra potential if you're going for like a supporty type build. If you're like the only AD on your team or something like that, you can definitely help your team out by just going for that and just being a little bit more tanky. It is definitely a good magic resist item nonetheless, so yeah. There are a lot of options in this, and you can even just skip out on this and just look at, like, for example, Gargoyle Stoneplate, very solid defensive item on Jarvan. You just logically have to think about this step, really. There are so many options on this defensive type build. Any tank item, any defensive item could be worth it in specific situations. Like Zeke's Convergence, there are so many items. So if you guys have specific questions on like the tank items, so follow this up. If anything is not clear, make sure to ask them in the comments below. It's pretty much all I'm gonna say about it. Just judge your tank items on the game. That's really all I can say. Do what makes the most sense, and you'll be successful in that situation. So yeah, that was the build section of this guide. If you've enjoyed it, please leave that like button. Click that like button, smash that like button. It helps a lot and it means a lot. And let's get right into the gameplay now. Alright, so welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. As you can see, I am playing Jarvan, of course, into a Zac. The matchup for me isn't that bad since I do have like a lot of early game pressure. Zac does as well with his E ganks, but that only starts to ramp up at like level 4 to level 5 when his E actually starts to get some range. And I can literally start ganking at level 2 if I want to. Now most likely I won't do that because generally it's smarter if you do at least both of your buff camps to and then start ganking, because if you don't, then the chances of you losing your buff camp are pretty big, and you don't really want to take that risk on just a gank. Now, right here, we're looking for that crisp invade on level 1. Some people just spamming that shit and then you follow it. But then Natalia came from like the weirdest angle in the world and actually just walked in and killed herself. So that just gives me the chance to pretty much just back and get an extra longsword. I could have also picked up like an extra health crystal if I was gonna go for like a Cinderhawk first item. Or like item, but then even then, longsword would have been better. I think this game I'd go for a warrior enchant. Even though this game probably Cinderhawk was the best choice, I was just like, whatever, I guess, I don't know. Because as soon as your team doesn't have any tanks, like this team right here, going Cinderhawk is definitely the best option. But I think I just got away with this game pretty well or something, and I just decided to go for warrior. Even if that happens, then getting first blood like that, it's still worth getting a longsword, because you can always build into a cleaver. It's always one longsword required for cleaver, so yeah. Alright, here I'm just clearing my camps pretty much as fast as possible to get that level 3 and start ganking something. I mean, you can do it on level 2 with Jarvan easily, you just have to land your EQ combo, but I just like to be sure that I can get both buff camps, and then might as well hit level 3 at that point. This is just a gank for Orin, he just warded. As soon as Ryze snares him, he's in place and I can EQ him. That's a pretty easy gank for me to always do. Especially if Ryze gets the increased duration on his snare. So yeah. And just quickly pick up a Scuttle Crab. As soon as you hit it with the EQ combo, by the way, the Scuttle Crab will be much easier to kill, so that's at least something. Alright, here I'm just looking for the gank on mid lane real quick, because this guy is pushed up slightly, and all I need is slightly, because right here I can just land the EQ combo on her as well. Or rather, she flashes it out, which is instantly a worth it gank. It takes me like 5 seconds to gank that, and I needed the path down anyway. So I just got 2 ganks done in the span of like 30 seconds and got 2 flashes, which is like a really good start. That's solid for your lanes. Alright, here might as well smite it. I think at this point I just look to go and gank bot lane because they're also pushed up, and that's actually a gank potential for me. So yeah. Let's fast forward a tiny bit here. Yeah, I'm pinging my bot lane to go for this right now. Land the EQ combo on him. He just flashed earlier, so there was no way he could dodge it. That's why I went for the EQ combo on him. As soon as he flashes, like, as soon as someone flashes, it becomes real easy to just land it. Just click it straight on top of them, and it's really hard to miss that at that point. That's just a free kill for us. Not bad, not bad. For me, it's just time to go back to clearing some jungle camps here. I think I'm gonna look to clear this camp and then recall or something like that. I do have quite a lot of money, as you can see, and I'm also quite low, so it's definitely something I need to look out for. Yeah, I have 1,000 gold. Yeah, recalling here. I'm not recalling here. I'm actually going for this bot play. Both of my laners are level 4, and I think the Taric with that HP can actually bait it in pretty well. That's why I went for it. Yeah, we just go for it. One shot. And we actually get both of them. That's actually very, very solid. That's a pretty nice bait in for them to, like, go walk up. Taric was quite low, so the enemy team would assume that they back, and if I just then walk in, and if it's not warded, then they walk up like that and get a free kill. That's really good. Now, this puts my bot lane extremely far ahead. This gives Triss a BF sword already with, like, boots and a dagger. Just 3 kills and also at 35 CS. So at this point, bot lane should be pretty much over, and there should be nothing that the enemy team can do to actually win this anymore. Even if the Zac ganks, the lead Triss had so big that I don't think it matters if he ganks. If they format it, then sure, but there's a Talia here. I don't want to, like, try to EQ that Talia right there, because that would just be bad for me. Oh. I don't know why I EQ'd in that one, actually. I should not have EQ'd in that. Alright, he goes in, so I just ult him real quick to make sure that he stays under turret and actually dies. That's also a really good thing. If you're against, like, champions like Ornn or just immobile champions that can't get out of your ultimate and they don't have flash, which I knew he didn't have flash because he used it on top lane earlier when I ganked, then you can just get him for free like that. Now, right there, that was really unfortunate. I thought Xayah's heal was actually on cooldown, so as soon as I just go in on her, I would be able to just straight one-shot her with an EQ auto-attack combo, but she did have heal, and she baited me pretty nicely, so she actually got the kill on me. That's kind of just my bad for... I mean, it is... On the one hand, it's my bad for not knowing that her heal was off cooldown, but the other hand, if it was on cooldown, like I thought it was at that moment in time, then it was actually a decent play to just one-shot her. Now here, one thing you gotta make sure you keep doing is just keep your CS up a little bit. You don't want to be falling behind on that. And Jarvan is actually pretty damn good at clearing his jungle camps with his Q. And also his E ability for extra attack speed on certain camps. So you have a lot of clear potential, and it's really good to keep that going. Pick up red here, go to blue instantly, I think. Yeah, and then I think I'm gonna look for an Ornn gank here, since he is pushed up, and it is, again, a Ryze. All I have to do with Ryze is just... let him snare, and then I can just get the gank going. Yeah, Ryze is fighting the Ornn on top lane right now. I'm pinging that I'm on my way. I do walk over a ward here, apparently, so he does spot me. I decided to go for the Scuttle Crab instead. Just pick that up real quick, and then look for a gank on Natalia. Ahri does have her ultimate up, which means that if I would gank mid lane, that it could work out for me. I'm not sure what I'm doing right here, to be honest. I should be just standing mid lane, waiting for the gank on Talia, because it's pretty much free at this point. Ahri has her ultimate up, so it's like all she has to do is ult in. I'm just gonna ult her. She instantly flashes out, which... I mean, it's trading my ult cooldown for a flash cooldown of a laner, which is really not bad. Especially because Ahri can then have the potential to like, do something. Now, Zac tries to fight me here, which is slightly questionable, because I do have a lot more damage than he does, and... the tankiness he has right now in his Cinderhawk is not that much. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. So, him fighting, he'll always lose that pretty much. Even though I do not have my ultimate, he will still lose that. We do kill Zac here. Now, at this moment in time, I remember this little bit. This Talia should have just backed off. Like, there was nothing for her to do. As soon as she walks up a little bit, my Q is just gonna kill her, and then she just killed herself. And it's not like this is low elo either. Some people just make the randomest plays. This is like Diamond 3, Diamond 2-ish elo, I do believe. So yeah, I don't know what that plan was right there. That animation from Ornn right there looks actually weird on the map. Wait, go back. If you're looking at it from the spectator, look at that fucking... like, look how massive that shit is. Holy... I didn't even know that was that big on the fucking map. Jesus Christ. I follow myself again. I'm currently sitting on 1400 gold, so I definitely need to look towards backing soon. This Triss goes hard, dude. Holy shit. I mean, Ornn was about bot lane. Okay. I thought I was gonna get the EQ on her, but she did have her ultimate up right there, so it was She lost it, and she survived. As soon as you land that EQ, if I landed that and she got knocked up, she would have died instantly. So, yeah. The most important thing about Jarvan is landing that EQ, and holding on to your EQ for certain situations is also pretty smart to just mind game the enemies by like trying to juke shit or something. I did pick up Mercs here and go into my Black Cleaver right now. I'm doing pretty well in the early game, so I can definitely snowball this by building some damage. But with the Warrior Black Cleaver combo, and at that point, since I'm the only tank on the team, I need to build straight tank items, so... This specific game, you can see that they have a lot of continuous magic damage in Vel'Koz ultimate, in Talia's Qs, in Ornn's stuff. Like right here, this Vel'Koz ultimate decimated me. So a good tank item in this situation is definitely the Adaptive Helmet. It's gonna make me insanely tanky against pretty much their entire team except from Xayah. So that's like, you gotta look at it like that when you build your tank items. What tank item is gonna be the most effective? That's the first tank item you want to be building. If it's like an Adaptive Helmet against a team like this, build that. If it's like a, what's it called? The Renowin's Omen against like a Yasuo with like an AD carry comp or like crit heavy teams, just build that. You gotta really think about it like that. A lot of people ask me like, what do I just build on this champion? And I'm like, well, that just really depends on the game, you know? Like some people think the builds are straight up, but definitely on champions like Jarvan, it's definitely not straight up. For assassins, yes, it might be very, very straight up. Like you go maybe Duskblade, Ghostblade, Death's Dance, like every game, because it's just the best items you can get for the most damage you can possibly get. But if you're building like a tanky champion or a bruiser type champion, there is definitely not just one build that you can go for. Ooh, we go for that Rise Dive. I do use my ultimate to kind of lock them in right there. The rest of them got Taric ultimate on them, so locking them out for like a little bit wasn't that big of a deal. But I do think I should have instantly dropped my ultimate there instead of holding it up for a little longer, because then that fight could have been much cleaner. We do trade the 2 for 1, which is not bad for us at all. If we just back out of the situation right now, we'll get away with that. That's like a really cheesy play that Ryze can do, just instantly port the entire team behind them, and then then they have a problem. But Ornn did teleport in that situation, so we did get a teleport out of our team. And then the Talia and the Zac were also instantly responded. It's pretty well counterplayed by the enemy, even though there's not a whole lot they could have done, since we are quite a bit ahead. But here the team definitely overstayed, and then we just like gave up like 2 free kills for no reason at all, which is kind of annoying. But that's solo queue, man. They make some interesting plays. Alright, here I should just be going to my top side and farming my camps up a little bit more. There's nothing I can do to defend mid lane for now until at least Ahri gets there. But even then, I don't think we can do much, because there's 2 people and likely to be 3 or 4 people, as you can see right now. So, defending that turret was really not the best call. But then they dive Ahri, which pretty much means that I can just follow that up and we can make this play happen. Now right here, this is exactly, like I just waited out for a little bit. They do engage here. Ahri does get the Zac. I don't know why they dive in Ahri like this, to be honest. But here, he does get the Zac. I go on Ornn first because he is hitting the Ahri. And then as soon as that happens, I just ult both of them to keep them in turret range. And then whoever doesn't have flash is stuck and dies. I mean, sadly, because I don't have the tankiness yet, I do die to Vel'Koz ultimate. If I did have an Adaptive Helmet in that situation, I would have survived it. But, you know, you can't always win. Triss does get the kill here, I think. So I think we're still fine on that one. We trade a 1 for 4, which is definitely not bad. I'll take that trade any day of the week. Does she get the kill? Ah, she does get the kill. With a crit. If that didn't crit, she might have actually not gotten that kill. I also do believe it was the static auto attack, because that was... I don't think that was Triss's range yet. Who knows, maybe. Go back to myself laying dead on the floor. Alright, this is where I complete my cleaver. This is where my damage starts to spike and where I start to become really strong in a game. As soon as you get that cleaver item on Jarvan, you can pretty much 1v1 anyone, whether you went Cinderhulk or Warrior. Warrior gives you a little bit more damage potential and one-shot potential, which is obviously, like, if you have a lot of squishies on the enemy team, it's pretty safe. But also, Cinderhulk will just give you the more sustained damage and then let Cleaver do the work for you by shredding the armor. So, either one would have been fine. This game, looking at it right now, I should definitely have gone for the Cinderhulk, because, again, I'm the only tank, and I could have made that work much better, I think. If you think about it like that, I mean, obviously, you're not going to be able to judge it perfectly every time, because sometimes you just need to go Warrior to help your team carry certain games, so... Because if you don't go Warrior in certain games, you might not deal enough damage fast enough in certain situations, or like one-shot people enough to win fights. it just all depends, man. It shouldn't matter too much whether you go Warrior or Cinderhawk on Jarvan, because you can always just go for tank items after your cleaver. And then if you build the right tank items, you're going to be tanky enough regardless. Some people ask me which is like what to go for that, like Warrior, Cinderhawk, or anything. Right there, Ryze ults me in. I was like, alright, I'll take this ultimate, I'll just quickly ult all of them, and then I just lock them in place so my team can catch up completely. I thought that was a pretty good play, but this fight turned out to be a little bit messy. I do die there pretty quickly, because I was, I don't know, I might have gone too early on that one. Actually, I can go back and watch at it. Look at it again. Alright, so... Ryze ults me in right there. I'm like, okay, I can just follow this ultimate and then just lock all of them in right here. Just ult, lock them in, flash out. So that my team can catch up here with the Taric engage. Then I do go back in. Alright, I do go back in and miss my EQ combo. This was a bad engage for me right there. What I should have done was walk a little bit down and get the engage on the squishies on the backline right there. That would have been much better. And I think if I did that, this specific fight, that we would have won that very, very easily. I mean, we do still come out ahead with a 2 for 3, if not more. I don't know if the Triss is going to be able to get more kills, because what she did right here earlier, I don't know if you guys spotted that. Yeah, right there I made a mistake. I should have just walked down a bit and went for the Velcro so that he couldn't ult the team fight. Because what he pretty much did there was carry the team fight by doing a lot of damage to our teammates. So if I just walked around and then EQ'd the Velcros, that would have been an easy win. But right there, Triss jumped backwards, as you saw. Which made it like that these two could both get away. If she literally, like, there was nothing for her to be afraid of, because Ornn and Zac don't really deal that much damage. There were also still a Ryze and an Ahri kind of around, so they could have made that play. If Triss just jumped on the Ornn or the Zac and gotten either kill, then she could have gotten the other kill as well, and that would have been a clean sweep for just 2. And Taric and I would have died for like an ace, which is very much worth it. I mean, it's still a pretty good fight for us. It's not that bad. It could have gone better if I played that better. If I literally just gone for the Velcros instead of trying to hit a tank with my EQ combo. Go for the backline. That's something you always gotta remember. If you have your EQ combo up, always try to land it on one of their squishies and not their tanks, because it's not that worth it to go for the tanks unless you have to peel for your AD carry. But in that specific fight, I didn't really have to peel for my AD carry at all. And yeah, I just misplayed that, really. Now right here, I mean, they're just mid lane against the Ahri right now. This guy's teleporting in. Ahri can make the play here, charms the Talia, so I just see that and I just EQ the Talia while she's charmed. She instantly dies from that, and at this point I just need to help Ahri survive this Ornn, really. I should not have kept my ult up that long. I should have let my ult drop literally I shouldn't even have ulted. I honestly should not even have ulted right there, now that I think about it. You have to remember that as soon as like someone is on your squishy and you actually lock your squishy in with them, you instantly have to drop that ultimate. If you don't drop it, your squishy is gonna die. Unless you one-shot that target. If it's like a squishy against squishy target, then you probably have to damage to out-damage him. But if it's like a tank, then your squishy is likely going to die, because staying in melee range like that against a tank will still deal a good amount of damage, and the squishy doesn't have that much health. So if you are in those situations, instantly drop your ultimate like I did. I didn't keep it up like long at all. Right there, I should have done a flag toss, right? Really, I didn't do a flag toss. I thought like I might EQ him, but then the Triss just crit him, and then he literally lived with 1 HP. So then me not flag tossing that is just kind of annoying. Alright, we're trying to look for a Baron here. We can pretty much do this comfortably, because at this point they shouldn't really be able to fight us that well. Alright, we got the Zac passive right there, not bad. I've like waited for the Zac to get in close, by the way. On Jarvan, it's the kind of thing you can do. You can wait until it gets a little bit close. He gets his passive pop, we did see it. Right, all these blobs. As you can see, I'm waiting right now to get it to close and then hit him with the last one, because you can pretty much one-shot all of them at once if you time it correctly. I didn't get it perfectly right, but I was just close enough to get it to just one auto attack. Now this guy walks up, I'm like, oh shit. And then he Qs it first. If he walked up a little further, I would have been able to EQ him as well, which is... like, that would literally just one-shot him, because I do have Warrior and Black Cleaver. I have so much damage on that guy. And this game is literally just, like, we can get a Baron and end. I'm currently sitting on 1500 gold, so I think I'm looking to back for that Adaptive Helmet real quick. Tristana jumps in, which, I mean, I'm not sure what all this play is about. We literally just need to back up, reset, and go for Baron in this specific situation. Because forcing that Baron, forcing them to fight us, they will just lose because we're that far ahead. Tristana has a massive, massive lead on the Xayah. She's pretty much an entire item ahead of Xayah, which is big. And then I have also a serious lead on the Zac as well. I can pretty much tank their entire team now with just one tank item, and that's the Adaptive Helmet. Because their entire team is set up in such a way that they have so much continuous damage. And since the Xayah is behind, she can't really touch me. I mean, she is going to deal a good amount of damage because I don't have that much armor. But because she is behind and I built my tank items correctly, like went for the right tank items, she can't really do too much against me. Now right here, Ryze gets caught. I was thinking about maybe going in and like ulting the Xayah and one-shotting these two or something like that. But then again, if I wouldn't have one-shot them, going in 1v4 probably would have killed me. And that is not the best trade to go for. Actually, I think looking at it back right here, I think I could have done it. Well, let's look at this. Ryze goes in by himself. I'm right here. So, right, if I look at this, right, I can EQ over. It gives me about this much range, and I'll have ult potential on these two right here. Ryze would have his flash up. He flashes forward. I EQ over. I landed on these two. My EQ does about 500 damage on them-ish. They don't have too much armor. This guy has 1000 health, 600 health. Yeah, I should have gone in. Looking back at it, I should definitely have gone in here. I should have just EQ'd over because Zac and Ornn wouldn't have done enough damage. And if I just EQ'd over and then got the ult on both of those, they would have both died. Probably Ryze would have lived and we would have aced them right there, just 2v4. That's a mistake on my part, actually looking back at it. I mean, it's hard to judge in those situations because you have to consider that's a 1v4. But right now, I didn't really think about it too well. I guess in that moment in time, I was like, alright, this guy probably just got caught and there's not much I can do. But looking back at it, I could definitely done something. Especially because I have Adaptive Helmet and their AD carry wasn't in that situation. So they would have taken ages to kill me. This one tank item would have made that impossible for them to actually kill me there. So I should definitely have gone in and just one-shot both squishies and then try to save the Ryze. Yeah, alright. I mean, you live and you learn, right? That's all it's about. Just making plays, looking back at... Like, this is also why looking back at your own gameplay actually helps you a lot in just judging certain situations and then seeing where you went wrong to improve on that for the next game. That massive fucking thing, dude. Holy shit. Alright, they literally go on Ryze here with the 4 of them. Is this 4? It's actually 5. No, this is 4 of them. Xayah died. Did Ryze get Xayah or something? Oh no, we killed Xayah bot lane. I'm stupid. Alright, Taric flashes, stuns him. Since he is stunned, I'm like, alright, fine, I'll just go for it. Then I just ult this. I do keep my ult up for like little bit of time, but I try to drop it as fast as possible because I do want my team to be able to catch up with that. You have to remember that as soon as your ult is in situations like that and your team doesn't have clear range of it, of like targets, then it becomes really difficult to actually win team fights in certain situations, even though you lock them down. If your team can't damage him in that time, then you just gotta drop that ultimate because then it's just not worth keeping it up. Alright, here we just want to look for that Baron. We just got the, we just killed our entire team, so it's pretty much a free Baron pickup. And after this, like, you just end the game, honestly. There's not much they will be able to do. Pick up a Baron here. I go over the wall and towards Ahri right here to make sure she's going to be able to get this turret. Sure, they're dead for a while, but if the Xayah was there, which I didn't know she was right there, we didn't spot her. If the Xayah would show up and try to 1v on the Ahri, sure, Ahri would most likely win, but I just wanted to be safe. And there's no point in recalling yet if I don't have to, because we can't really group up properly unless Ahri is there as well. And she probably needed to recall as well, so at that point, I might as well recall at the same time as Ahri and just be her backup for like a little bit to be safe about it. Now at this point, I think I'm just gonna go for like a Sterix gauge, because like all they have is burst damage on me right now, and their AD carry is useless. So going for like a Sterix gauge at this point just offers me complete like tank potential, and then also gives me a lot of base extra AD, which then again helps me with like one-shotting people. So it's like a good combination between tank and damage at this point, because I don't have to go complete tank this game anymore, because we're actually that far ahead. I can build a little bit of damage and be fine with it with my last items. Like if I had to go complete tank right there this game, I probably would have just built a Randuin's next item to completely cancel out her damage as well. And at that point, then I would have just been completely safe, and there's nothing. Now right here, my entire team is sieging top lane, and I'm like, alright, I'm close enough to walk up right now, so I might as well just use my Baron on the mid lane wave and get the mid turret whilst they're sieging this. The enemy team can't really respond to me. They would have to send at least 3 people to even, like, remotely touch me in damage. Like, right there was nothing to my health bar. She instantly flashes out again. So in that situation I just split it and got it down. Got the red inhibitor down. Then the Ryze split it top lane and got that down. And I do believe that this is literally just the end of the game. So from a lot of early pressure, as you saw with Jarvan, that's pretty much all you want to do. Just make those EQs count in the early game, force some flashes out of the laners, and then just just make the plays like that. Put the keep return ganking as well as soon as their flash is on cooldown, because at that point it becomes really easy to gank. As soon as you land that EQ combo, then they're instantly dead. Especially if they have immobile champions like their team has right here. The only champion that has really the ability to dodge my EQ combo this game is Saya with her ultimate if she doesn't have her flash, and the rest of the champions just got hit. So Jarvan was a pretty good solid pick into this, and yeah. Anyway, that was my Jarvan guide for you guys. That was the last guide in the series that I was planning to do for this season. So now any video ideas are welcome if you have some. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Leave that like if you did, and subscribe for more. See you guys in the next video. Bye!